Hello, cubs, and welcome back to my cozy den. We are, of course, still loitering here in the retching netch, ready to continue with the story of the real Barenziah. So grab yourself a drink from the bar and pull up a bench by the fire as we continue with volume 10. As Symmachus had predicted, the theft of the Staff of Chaos had few short-term consequences. The current Emperor, Uriel Septim, sent some rather stiff messages expressing shock and displeasure at the staff's disappearance, and urging that Symmachus make every effort to locate its whereabouts and communicate this to the newly appointed Imperial Battle Mage, Jaeger Tharn, in whose hands the matter had been placed. Tharn, Symmachus snarled in disgust and frustration as he paced about the small chamber where Barenziah, now some months pregnant, was sitting serenely, knitting a baby blanket. Jaeger Tharn indeed. I wouldn't give him directions for crossing the street. What have you against this person, husband? I just don't trust that mongrel elf. Part wood elf, part dark elf, and part only the gods know what. All the worst qualities of all his combined races. No one knows much about him. Claims he was born in Valenwood, of a wood elf mother. Seems to have been everywhere since. Barenziah, sunk in the contentment of pregnancy, had only been humouring Symmachus thus far, but this piqued her interest. Nightingale? Could he have been this Jaeger Tharn disguised? Nay. Human blood seems to be the one missing component in Tharn's ancestry. To Symmachus, Barenziah knew that was a flaw. Symmachus despised wood elves as lazy thieves and high elves as effort intellectuals. But he admired humans, especially Bretons, for their combination of pragmatism, intelligence, and energy. Nightingales of Ebonheart, of the House of Mora. I'll be bound. That house has had human blood since her time. Ebonheart was jealous that the staff was laid here when Tiber Septim took the horn from us. Barenziah sighed a little. The rivalry between Ebonheart and Mournhold reached back almost to the dawn of history. Once, the two had been one. All of the mines within held by Clan Rathin, whose royal house held the high kingship of Morrowind. Ebonheart had split into two separate city-states, Ebonheart and Mournhold. When Queen Lianne's twin sons, Moraline's grandsons, had been left as their heirs. At the same time, the office of the High King had been vacated in favour of a temporary war leader to be named by a council in times of provincial emergency. Still, Ebonheart remained jealous of her prerogatives as the eldest city-state of Morrowind, still first among equals, and claimed that guardianship of the Horn should be rightfully entrusted to the Elder. Mournhold responded that Morrowind himself had placed the Horn in the keeping of the god Ethan, and Mournhold was unarguably the god's birthplace. Why not tell Jagathan of your suspicions then? Let him recover the thing. As long as it's safe, what does it matter where it lies? Symmachus stared at her with comprehension. It matters, he said softly. But not that much, he added. Certainly not enough for you to concern yourself further with it. You just tend to your knitting. In a few more months, Barenziah produced a fine son, who they named Helseth. Nothing more was heard of the staff or nightingale. If Ebonheart held it, certainly they did not boast of it. The years passed swiftly and happily. Helseth grew tall and strong. He was much like his father, whom he worshipped. When Helseth was 8 years old, Barenziah bore a second child, a daughter, to Symmachus's great delight. Helseth was his pride, yet little Morgia held his heart. Shortly after Morgia's birth, word came that a plot against the Emperor had been unmasked, and that the chief co-conspirators, Jagathan and Rhea Silmain, were dead. Symmachus rejoiced at this news. "I told you so," he crowed. Yet thereafter, relations with the Empire slowly deteriorated, for no apparent reason. Taxes were raised, and quotas increased with each passing year. Symmachus felt that the Emperor suspected him of having a hand in the plot, and sought to prove his loyalty by making every effort to comply with the increasing demands. He lengthened working hours and raised taxes, and even made up some of the difference from both crown funds and their own private holdings. Yet still the demands increased, and the commoners and nobles alike grew restless. "I want you to take the children and journey yourself to the imperial city," Symmachus at last said in desperation. "You must make the Emperor listen, else all Mournhold will be in revolt come spring. You have a way with men, you always did." He forced a smile. Barenziah forced a smile of her own and replied, "Even you." "Yes, even me," he said dully. "Both children?" Barenziah looked over toward the corner windows, where Helseth was strumming a lute and singing a duet with his little sister. Helseth was 15, Morgia just 8. "Perhaps they'll soften his heart," Besides, it's time that Helseth was presented at the imperial court. Perhaps, but that's not your true reason. You do not think you can keep them safe here. If that's the case, then you're not safe here either. Come with us, Barenziah urged. He took her hands in his. Barenziah, love, heart of my heart, if I leave now, there will be nothing for us to return to. I'll be all right. I can take care of myself, and I can do it better if I need not fear for you and our children. Barenziah laid her head against his chest. Just remember that we need you. We can do without the rest if we have each other. Empty hands and empty bellies are easier to bear than an empty heart. My foolishness has brought us to this pass. If so, 'tis not that so a place to be. His eyes rested fondly on their carefree children. And none of us shall go without. I cost you everything once, Barenziah. I and Tiber Septim. Without my aid, the Septim dynasty would never have begun. I helped its rise. I can bring about its fall. You may tell Uriel Septim that, and that my patience is bounded. Barenziah gasped. Symmachus was not given to empty threats. She'd no more imagined that he would ever turn against the Empire than that the old house wolf lying by the hearth would turn on her. How? She demanded. But he shook his head. Better that you know not, he said. Just tell him that. If he prove recalcitrant, and do not fear, he's Septim enough that he will not kill the messengers. The late winter journey to the imperial city was an easy one. One of the things the Septim Empire had accomplished was the building and maintenance of good highways throughout Tamriel. And there you have it. Well, good highways is a good a note as any to end on. So until next time, my cubs, stay cozy.